talk a little bit about last week's game. We would have liked to played better in the first quarter, but we're going to have growing pains, and not just the first quarter, but most of the year with some of these younger guys. Counted up, we had 6 new starters, first-time starters on offense, and we looked like it on our first few drives. Had 3 turnovers in the first 4 possessions, and that's not good. We can't do that, and our players know that. 1 overthrown ball, 1 fumble by a senior running back, and 1 missed block by right tackle that hit our quarterback's arm, and 3 tough plays. And I really thought our defense played well. They really played well on the 17-play drive. We just could not make a play on third down. We got them in the 4 or 5 third down situation on the first drive. We just didn't play well enough. Nobody made a play. They went after one of our cornerbacks, and he panicked a little bit, and you can't do that. You got to stay with your technique. But we got out of our technique a little bit in the first quarter, but we regained it, and we got better. I thought our offense was much better, much more like we want it to be, obviously different. We don't have the wide-open offense that we had in that first game, simply for the fact we wanted to make sure our receivers were ready to go. We played Devin Gray, who was our player of the game on offense, 111 yards in passes. I thought he played a heck of a game. Blocked well. He ran the right routes. That's how I judged all our first-time receivers, just the simple fact, did they do the right things? Did they go out and play mental as well as they played physical? And we dropped a couple of balls the first half that could have made a difference in a couple of drives. I thought our offensive line, with only one guy that had started a game, that was our center. The rest of those guys had really not started a football game. And I thought they played well. They got stronger as the game went on. Then we inserted Idarius Ray at left guard and Leahy at right guard, who had been practicing there both with injuries after, I think, the 3rd series. We even got better. So we've got a little depth there that we're working on. Our tight ends played well. Again, just take back one fumble from a running back, and we pretty much got what I thought. We're going to be a different offense. We're going to be able to do different things as we go through the season, as we get more experience, but we're going to have to play better on offense for an entire game to beat some of these, or have a chance to beat some of these teams coming up. Defensively, Eric Wilson played his best game since he's been here. He really played well. He tackled well. He's all over the field. You can just tell his experience from one year of last year to this year's really made him a solid football player, one that we can count on helping get people lined up. And that team last week that we played in UT Martin, again, first of all, we didn't know what they were going to do. Second of all, they'd done a lot of things. They did a lot of things that we had not prepared for. And that's usually what happens, because first game of the year, you put things in to try to confuse the other team, and they did that for at least one drive. But overall, our defense played pretty well. We got 3 turnovers, which is a good start for them. I want to get in the plus column, though. We're still even up after giving away three mistakes, and so we've got to get in that plus column. Our kicking game was not very good, and everybody blames the kicker. It wasn't a kicker on our extra point field goals. It was our snapper on one snap, who's a first-year snapper, and it was a holder who was a first-time holder in Carter Jacobs, and he was our holder because he's the only guy that can hold for a left-footed kicker. And when Gantz gets back, then we'll go back to Geraci, and he'll be the holder. Geraci, Gantz kicked last week. He's kicking this week. We'll see if he's ready to go. We'll make a decision by the time we get to Saturday to see if this is going to be his first start for the year. But we need some consistency at that position. But Sam Geraci did a good job in punting, even though he's coming off an injury. Hadn't punted a whole lot. Averaged 38 yards a punt. He'll get stronger as he goes. He twisted his knee in warming up in our second scrimmage, and he's not back 100%, but he's physically ready to go. He's just not all the way 100%, but he's getting closer to that. But our DBs played well. Our defensive front, we got good pressure on the quarterback. We played a lot of players, which is going to help us. especially games like coming up this week. Yesterday's practice, we practiced on turf, and it was 135 degrees, and that's awfully hot for this time of year, and it's going to be a hot Saturday. So we're going to have to play a lot of players on offense and defense going into this game this week. Purdue was my first game when I got here. We played Purdue out here at Nippert Stadium, Big Ten team, and they've had some struggles over the last few years. This is their best team. They got a senior quarterback. They got a very good running back. Their offensive line is big. They're strong. They're bigger than most any team that we'll see. They have the short passing game. They threw the ball deep last week very well. Their receivers have good speed. Defensively, they're very similar to us, four-man front. Be a lot of carryover there. Again, they're big on that side of the ball also, but it's a typical Big Ten team. They line up, and they try to run the ball, create the running game, get the passing game going, play action pass, but this kid can really throw the ball. So it'll be a challenge for us. Going on the road for the first time, we need to be much improved going into this game to give ourselves a chance to win on the road. So our guys are excited. We've practiced hard. It was good. We played Thursday, had a little time off during the weekend, but we did practice most every day, watch film. We're ahead of the curve in terms of practicing, getting ready for this game. We'll need it. It'll be just the opposite next week. We won't have enough time to practice next week for a Thursday game. So going into this game fairly healthy. We had a couple of guys beat up, but nobody will miss the game in terms of an injury from last week. And so we'll go to practice, back to practice again today, and start wrapping up our game plan, have a couple of walkthroughs at the end of the week, and get ready to go. Questions?
What percent would you say Gantz is?
He's probably 90, 95%, but he's kicking today. They're going down to Bengals practice field, kick on grass. We don't have grass around here, so when we play on grass, all of our kickers and snappers, they go down and snap and kick for about 30 minutes on a grass field, kind of get used to that. So, and he'll kick today. I think he's kicking 30 balls today, but he did the same thing last week. He just wasn't mentally ready to go last week. Kickers are like golfers. They gotta be mentally ready as well as physically ready, and he just wasn't feeling it last week. So hopefully this is the week he can come back. He's been out, I think, 4 weeks, and he stretched his eye band or whatever it is in his groin, IT band. Thank you, Kaz. Yeah, I guess about 4 weeks ago. So he should be getting close to 100%.
Is playing a Power 5 team a big deal for you guys?
Not really, because we play so many of them. It doesn't make any difference. But there's not a lot of difference. It's just a simple fact. There's a name. I think there's a stigma that's added onto it. You're playing a Big Ten team or an SEC team or a Pac-12 team. That's just, I think it's sensationalized. So, or another team. I mean, you got to play them. Whether they're a professional team, if they're on your schedule, you got to get ready to play them. And they put 11 out there like you do, and you go try to play for 60 minutes and try to have more points. But there's probably a little bit more to a game like this because it's closer. A lot of our guys know players on their team, and I think that's what you get. You get a lot of that, when you play closer teams. And so I've not been there. I've never coached a game there, so looking forward to going.
There is a difference in perception, national perception anyway, for a program trying to get into a Power 5 conference. Is an important game from that standpoint.
Well, for this year, no. I think I don't think anybody's going to look at 1 or 2 games as any factor for any expansion or anything like that. They're going to look at the body of work and all those things, and again, not just in football or basketball. They look at all your sports and all the things that you do. But there is a national perception because there's a Power 5 and there's people that are not in the Power 5, and I guess there's a lot of talk about it, and if there's any thing that you want to say that you want to beat a Power 5 team, we've done that since we've been here, and we've been beaten by Power 5 teams. It's not going to help you one way or another, especially for this year's team. So we got to get better. I know that for us to have a chance to beat whether it's Power 5 or not Power 5, we got to improve our team. We can't play like we played last week. So I think that's the big thing for our football team right now is to just take them one at a time, and because our schedule is going to get tougher as we go.
What were your thoughts on Hayden Moore's performance?
I thought he played well. Everybody said, "Did you think about pulling Hayden out?" No, I mean you're going to make mistakes, and just unfortunately he overthrew that one ball that was intercepted. It's his fault he fumbled on the goal line. It wasn't his fault he got hit from behind. Now I'd like for him to protect the ball better, especially in the situation that we're in, scrambling, trying to get something going on offense. We got to play better as a team. That just goes to show you, offense is about 11 guys. If I was going to pull him out, I'd pull all 11 of them out because all 11 of them wasn't getting the job done as a unit. So Hayden's going to be fine. He's going to get better as we go, but he knows that there's other guys sitting right behind him, waiting in the wings. If he makes some mistakes and is not consistent, especially get in a game like this, we go up and we make some mistakes. We won't sit around. We'll put somebody else in the game. But that's not just quarterback. That's every position, and we do that. We got to give ourselves the best chance to win. And right now, Hayden's our best chance. He knows the offense better than the other two guys.
Will you play as many receivers as you did?
Pardon?
Will you play as many receivers as you did?
At last week, yeah. We're going to carry 8 receivers, and most of them will play. We pretty much, Thomas Geddes, new freshman, he caught a ball. Jerron Rollins, he caught a ball. Obviously, Devin Gray caught a few passes. I think we're going to limit. That's going to be our new guys limited to this point. I don't think there was another young guy that we threw the ball to. I think those were the 3. So you can look at all the other receivers that we've got. And are we making a mistake? We've got some other guys I think probably could come up and eventually, challenge for a starting position. But you build your football team on redshirting guys. They're really not ready to play on this level because they're not mentally, physically, adapted to the speed of this game. We'll find out in the next few weeks if Rollins and Geddes are ready for it. Now, Devin Gray's a junior college guy. He's been there, done that. He's played a little bit higher level. But we needed some of the younger guys to play just to be able to have depth and have an opportunity to substitute in hot games. And they're not where they'll be this time next year. I mean, they'll be much better, but they're the best we have right now.
Looking at the notes here, it's been a while, almost 60 years since UC beat a Big Ten team on the road.
That you didn't have to tell me that, Tom. Huh? 60 years?
59.
Okay.
But the question is almost as old as you.
Are you?
Is there something different about playing in like you say, a Big Ten / Power 5 environment that leads to a stat such as that?
I think our guys like to play, other conferences where they're bigger. BYU was a big game for our players last year. We go to BYU, and I know they're not in the Power 5, but they're a good program. They've won championships, national championships. They've had great players, and the stadiums and all that. It's a different allure to players. As coaches, I've coached pretty much everywhere. It doesn't mean that much, but it is to us as coaches. It's another game. We played Ohio State, even though they won the national championship that year, and Ohio State's big around here. It was another game for us. We're going to go play and try to play the best we can and see what we can do. Illinois was the same thing a few years ago. We went up and played them at their place and came up short, but it's not any different than us playing some of the other schools that we played. You don't feel that in here. I mean, it's not like that. It's not like fans get into it a little bit more because you got time to think about it and you read about it. We don't read any of that stuff. We don't read it or we don't have time to look at it. But it's what's make college football fun. I enjoyed this past weekend because we played on Thursday and we had a chance to watch a few of the games, and it's becoming more and more a challenge for even some of the so-called Power 5 teams. They're playing each other for the first time. You know, you got USC and Alabama, UCLA and A&M, and Ole Miss and Florida State and Auburn, Clemson. You know, that's a change in philosophy. In the past, you wouldn't have those big games, but now because the money is so big, you know, there's people are playing those games to bring more money into the athletic programs. So I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching them beat up on each other because you find out a lot more about a football team when you play against other good teams. And that was a lot of good college football this weekend.
You say you didn't think the fans did make a big deal out of it, or didn't?
No, the fans do. The players don't. I'm just the fans. They enjoy it. They enjoy playing Illinois and Ohio State, and I'm fine with that. I mean it's good for us that we use it in recruiting. Other than that, we come in here and do our scouting report on a Monday. I mean it's another team that's got 11 on offense, on defense, and hey, we're playing them no matter what their name is, and so we got to go play them, get ready to go, and try to sell them the fact that we got to play this team as hard as we played last week, and same thing the next week.
This is a little unusual here because until a few years ago, it just wasn't BCS/Power 5, and now it's not. So it used to be
You talking about
Cincinnati,
yeah.
league one,
Mm-hmm.
the highest.
We're BCS, we're just not Power 5, right?
Well, I didn't know BCS.
Yeah,
But you know,
yeah.
It's just a different,
Yeah.
it's an odd situation
Yeah.
for Cincinnati. Because now it's like, oh, we're playing at Power 5. Used to be a so-called, BCS.
You know, that's a good point. I don't think there's been that much of a separation, long enough separation for people to really grasp, the Power 5 from the non-Power 5. I think as you go, you're going to see a farther separation of it because it's, the money involved and television involved and all those things. I think but I think to this point, I mean, just a few years ago, we were in the Big East and there was no talk about Power 5. So this is all new to me too, and I've been in it for a long time to think, wait a minute, is there a difference between Cincinnati and Purdue or Cincinnati and UT Martin? And because I don't think UT Martin even thought, they didn't, they look at us as just another team too. But I think it's more of a perception of fans and everybody out there that are fans of their teams that gives them that separation. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Going back to the turnovers. So with the turnovers that were committed last week and the opportunities that Purdue took from Eastern Kentucky for turnovers that they earned last week, what was a focus in practice to try and minimize those mistakes?
Well, every day we don't talk about turnovers. We talk about practicing the right way. Focusing on every play. We forever, and I'm just as much on penalties, because last year again we were very high penalized, and I thought we did an excellent job last week. I'm always concerned with pre-snap penalties, procedure penalties. They hurt you. First and 15 is hard to get out of, and so last year we put ourselves in a big bind. We had a bunch of illegal procedure penalties, and we didn't have any pre-snap penalties last week. So I talk more about that with our players in here being positive, because sometimes you can say in an analysis that, hey, we're even in team turnovers, because we got 3 turnovers, so we're even. So if you keep dwelling on that other, it seems like sometimes it sticks with you. But we do up downs, we do certain physical things to make sure that if somebody makes a mistake, they understand they made a mistake. Sometimes we do, at the end of practice, we do team or offense or defense punishments for mental mistakes, and I think that's a better way to do it. I think if you're responsible for the entire team at the end of practice for making a mistake, and everybody's tired and wore out, but they've got to do extra work because somebody wasn't concentrating, I think that's more of a way to get it over to your team. But again, every week, and I told them we were going to talk about where we're at, plus and minus, after to that point, and we need to be way in the plus category for us to have an opportunity this year to get to the championship game.
I saw a note in the game notes, nice note, guys, that Devin Gray is the first player in UC history to have 100 yards
Well, I tell you what has an impact on your quarterback, because he caught some tough passes. And, the first pass he caught was one that Hayden, it should have been a touchdown. He did a great job of giving two moves on his route, just left the cornerback behind, but Hayden had somebody right in his face to throw the ball to him. It was a little shorter. It would have been a touchdown. But, again, I go back to he was able to catch those 5 because as the game went on, your quarterback gets confidence in you, and he also knows you're going to run the right route. I mean, we had a lot of mental mistakes in that game with receivers, even older guys. Nate Cole played a great game. 4th and 7, we go for it, a very crucial part of the game, and we're going to throw it to somebody we know is going to run at least 7 yards. One of the young receivers, if we'd have thrown it to him, we'd have been a yard and a half short. I mean, that's the small things that you don't see. When we made the play, Hayden knew that, that who he was going to throw that ball to in that situation. Number one, he was going to run the right route. He's going to get the right depth. There's not a down after 4th down. If you don't get 7 yards, you're off the field. And so he had a lot of confidence in it. Number one, he'd run the right route, get the right depth, and would catch the ball. So I think that goes back to Devin. Devin's really earning his spurs, so to speak, in practice. He does everything right in practice. He works hard, never says a word, catches passes, really works. He gets the DBs and works against them on releases. He has excellent work ethic, and that's going to make him a better and better player as we go through the season.
The Houston win against Oklahoma, does that concern you at all?
No, they got a good football team. Had one last year. We gave them our best shot last year, and we just, for some reason, that was one of those games we turned the ball over. And but they got a good team. They've had a good team. We played them the first year down there, and that was Greg Ward came in about in the middle of the second quarter, and we held on down there, and then we beat them here to win the conference championship 2 years ago, and he was up and down the field. Had a good team then. And then last year, obviously, they did well and off to a great start this year. So they got a good program. I mean, Tony Levine got it turned around. Tom's come in and put a little bit more to it in terms of what they want to do on offense. And so they're very talented. And, anytime you beat a top-ranked team in the country, you're going to open a lot of eyes. They'd already opened our eyes in our conference because we've seen them. We see them on film all the time. They're a good football team. So we go play this one, and we'll have a short turnaround. So it should be a fun week.
Coach, I just saw that you guys are wearing some patriotic things with the uniforms this week. I know that's obviously something.
Where's my mannequin, Cos?
It looks like some released on socials.
Huh?
Released on social.
Oh, you did? You didn't bring pretty shoes in? You didn't bring some cleats in?
They got broken in. Have you seen them? And
Yeah.
That's something that you were involved in?
Yeah, Cos, go get them a pair, and they can shoot it after I'm off. Get a low top and a high top. It is, obviously it's, or you can wear them, Cos. Well, they're American flag shoes. They're blue with white stars with a red trim. They're pretty nice. Under Armour does it for us several games a year, and that obviously this is their military game also too, and so it's I don't know, what is the date of this game? Is it 11th, 10th? 10th. It's the day before 9/11. So patriotic weekend.